not working. So my question was going to be, Danny, do your snappy thing.
Okay.
So I heard no like snap with that. That was a very gentle. I was expecting.
Really?
More,
Okay, maybe I should do it here. Maybe I should do it here. You ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1.
Nice. I think Discord just thought it was like a snap in the background, so it just like smooths it out. Yeah.
And we are on.
Hi everyone, welcome to the Closed Cinema Podcast, episode 8. Episode 8. There is a lost episode. We have now officially switched to Twitch because we have too many technical problems to rely on Audacity alone. So this is why we now have beautiful backgrounds and you can see our lovely faces. So, lovely face number 1, Tara, how are you doing?
Lovely. I'm great. Cool background.
It's such a nice back. Is that blanket? What have you got going on?
It is a blanket, and I must recommend it. It is the largest blanket I've ever seen, and is tremendously soft. Head over to Wilko right now, on sale for £8. You're welcome.
Wow.
Nice. Straight to Twitch, and we've already got a sponsor. It's fantastic.
I would love it.
Wilko's.
I love Wilko so much.
I could go into Wilko's, and there's always something you want to get. And it's always cheap. And it's always good.
You don't have nothing in mind. You're like, actually, I need that and that. And
you
that.
always come out with something, don't you? You always come out with something.
Speaking of which, hi Danny, how you doing? What you got in your background?
What have I got in my background? This is a lovely poster of My Neighbour Totoro, which I got from Brighton, and this is a Stanley Kubrick Clockwork Orange poster that I got from the Stanley Kubrick exhibition when I went last year. I thought I would keep it in keeping with films, so you know.
And you brought the slate as well.
There it is. And I've got the slate as well. Like, what did you guys bring? You brought nothing. You brought your fancy Wilko rugs.
From a water bottle.
And your massive water bottles. Like, you guys could be anywhere right now. You could literally be in a studio room.
How do you know
anywhere?
Yeah, how do you know we're not on the Bahamas right now?
Where it's like you can clearly see that I'm in my bedroom. I'm like that guy who scattered books on his bed when he tried to pretend that he was somewhere fancy when he was doing an interview.
Love it.
We're all so hot.
It's so
Why is it so hot in this country?
Just for context, in our room currently it is 30 degrees and it is gone 9. It's like 9:30 at night, which is
Why did we have to do
reasonable for England?
Why do we have to do the first visual podcast the day that I am absolutely sweating from every orifice?
Yeah, I just noticed that I'm incredibly shiny. So you can introduce me.
Yeah.
Kieran. Hi, Kieran.
Yeah, I'm the technology gremlin.
Sorry, I forgot to introduce Kieran.
Yeah.
So I get Tara to this now, which is way better at this than I am.
And who are you?
Oh, and I'm Lissa. Hi. Well, to be fair, we have our names on us, so hi.
Yeah, but we can't completely abandon the audio medium.
No, we are sticking to our true podcasting roots. We're not suddenly Twitches.
That's why Tara is intimately describing her background. Is that
what they're called? Are they called Twitches?
No, that's the name of people who watch birds.
Yeah, we could be that too. We can diversify. Get a bigger audience. Find our niche.
Yes.
We all need new hobbies in lockdown. If it is even lockdown anymore, we are called the Closed Cinema Podcast in response to the fact that in March, all of the cinemas in the UK closed. They are starting to now reopen, but we all have slightly different opinions about how we feel about going back and when we're going back. And kind of leading into our first piece of news, which we did discuss in our Lost episode last week, is Tenet coming out. So that is now due to come out at the end of August, a full week before it comes out in America. At the moment, it seems like the UK is getting full distribution throughout the UK, apart from the areas in the UK that are on regional lockdown. Many other countries are getting it. In the US, it seems to be having a lot more of a limited release that is only going to certain cities, depending on their COVID cases. How are you guys feeling about the prospect of returning to the cinema?
I feel like slightly better now that they've decided to go with the mask thing. You know, there's nothing worse than sitting in a confined space, especially if you're going to see Tenet, which is like 3 hours long. There's nothing worse than being stuck in a sort of, you know, a tight space with like 50 other people, is there really? So I'm feeling a little bit better about it now that we've got, you know, they're starting to put the masks on. But I don't know. I think it would only be, I would only go to the cinema for Tenet at the moment. It has to be a big blockbuster film that I've just wanted to see for a while. Like no other film would get me to the cinema other than Tenet.
And so will you be out on the 26th?
I don't know if I'm going to be out on the 26th, but I'll probably, yeah, within those couple of weeks. Maybe not the first weekend, but yeah, probably after that.
I reckon it's going to be in cinemas for a long time because there's so few new releases coming out, and we'll kind of get to the big Mulan news in a bit. That I reckon they're just going to keep it on many screens for a long time. So there might not be a necessity to go in that first week if you're worried about there being a huge amount of people. You could wait till our schools are reopening on the 3rd of September, so you could wait till the school children have gone back to see if it's a bit quieter. You could always try and go during the daytime by booking some time off work. We do have options. What makes me nervous, and I think, Kieran, you probably feel the same, is about how people are wearing their masks at the moment.
Oh yeah, country's full of idiots. Like, there's a
So
significant
true.
proportion of people who don't realise that their nose is connected to their mouth. It's
I know.
amazing.
And lungs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
PSA from the Close in our podcast. Don't wear your mask like this. It doesn't do anything. Please wear it over your nose. Please.
Yeah.
It keeps you safer. It keeps us safer. It's better for everybody.
There's a lot of people who just like, you know, their chins are well protected. Let's just put it this way. Their chins are protected from the COVID. Like, I have no idea how they think it's not going to go up their nostrils. Like, come on.
Or come out of them.
Come on. Or come out of their nostrils. Exactly. It's not just about protecting, you know, yourself from it. It's about protecting others. So wear it on your nose holes.
You know how we are somewhat culturally different to America, and you see a lot of videos now from American shops where people are yelling at other people for not wearing masks, or staff will stop people and be like, no, you can't come in if you're not wearing a mask and all that. You don't see that in England.
Mm-mm.
And I'm trying to figure out why. There's a few factors as to why, but I was thinking a big one might be our culturally different in we're not going to yell at strangers. We're not going to interact with strangers because strangers are scary. And we're too polite and shy to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then I get the other factors of it's not the worker's responsibility to make sure people are wearing masks. That's not fair, and then that's not part of their job. Do you guys think of any more reasons? Because
No,
I
totally,
get so angry.
I totally agree with what you're saying. Especially, I feel really sorry for people who work at the cinema. Obviously, all of us are avid cinema goers, and we are desperate to get back. And we're desperate for all the people who are employed by cinemas to be able to go back to work, get off furlough, and kind of have their careers back. But I do have concerns around their safety because I don't feel comfortable going to the cinema unless I think the mask policy makes me feel significantly better. But having gone to a couple of shops, and when I say a couple, I really do mean like a handful. We really have not been going to shops much. And each time we've gone, just seeing that people aren't wearing their masks properly or just aren't wearing their masks, period. I do worry that people just will sit down in their seats and take their masks off. And I don't think it's fair to expect someone who works at a cinema to have to go and have a potential argument with someone who's not wearing a mask, because that's like a risk for the employees.
Yeah. And that would like disturb the movie. You'd be like in the middle of a scene and somebody comes out and goes, "Oi, you wearing a mask?" You know, like
Not to mention that if you know, if I was in the cinema and like, you know, there were a few people who didn't have their masks on, it kind of made me feel uncomfortable, and I don't know if like it would make me like enjoy the movie less if I felt like, you know, people weren't taking the kind of safety of others as seriously as they should be. So I would kind of feel a little bit uncomfortable, and maybe it would ruin the experience for me. I think, you know, we should all be in it together at the end of the day. And
you said you are planning on going to see Tenet, and you're going with the knowledge that you know people aren't going to keep their masks on, policy or not. It's just not practical to expect.
Yeah, I know, but we've talked before about movies you would die for, and maybe Tenet is one of them.
No. I got into an argument with a couple of friends over the weekend about my feelings about Nolan movies, and I got somewhat shunned by one of our friends, me being like, it's just not worth the risk.
Yeah.
But I totally appreciate that right now, while we're all desperate to see something new, to have that cinema experience again, which kind of brings on to the next really big bit of news is Mulan is now going to be going to Disney Plus. All they've
I
said so
know.
far is that it's going to be going to Disney Plus in the US, and that is going to be $29.99 on top of the $50 subscription that you have to pay. They haven't yet confirmed what's going to be happening in the UK.
But I think at some point somebody said countries where Disney Plus has launched, Mulan will be coming out on Disney Plus, and countries where Disney Plus hasn't launched and it's safe, it will be coming out in the cinemas.
Yeah, and from what I've done some reading, it seems that the kind of the UK cinema associations are all led to believe that it won't be coming to cinema at all. That it will be coming only on Disney Plus. So I believe we are all now Disney Plus members, because I feel like Hamilton recently got Tara.
Yeah,
It got me too.
Hamilton, yeah.
So did you guys not have it before Hamilton?
No.
Oh, we were day dot. We were Imagineering Story. Like, we were all in on that documentary.
J. Dot. Yeah, no, Hamilton got me. It was Hamilton coming out that I think it got everyone, to be fair. Like they like in terms of strategy, it was a master stroke from like Disney to like release it a couple of months after. You know, build the anticipation of like, you know, get the initial people in, the early adopters, and then those who weren't quite sure whether they wanted Disney Plus were just like, it was like, bam, Hamilton 2 months later, you're getting it, bitch.
Yeah.
You're getting
Hamilton it. 2 months later, we're taking away the free trials. If you want Hamilton,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was a masterstroke as well, taking away the free trials, because everyone would have just blitzed the free trials that weekend, watched Hamilton, and then just bailed.
Yeah.
But you know, we got it for Hamilton, and we've stuck around. I say we got it for we came for Hamilton, stayed for National Treasure.
We watched both the National Treasure movies. I'd never seen them before, and they are amazing. They're so good.
Yeah. Nicolas Cage is on like his most Nicolas Cage hype. Like the way that he treats that main lady is so bad.
Oh yeah, she goes like
so bad.
And the whole time she's like, "Oh, but he's a genius. I love him." And it's
I
like,
know.
What are you doing? Like, you could do so much better. And like, amazing.
It's the second one where he just starts yelling in Buckingham Palace. We were just like, "What the fuck is going on?"
I'm gonna have to watch the second one.
Oh, it's amazing.
Cage.
It's
he like
amazing.
puts on a British accent and just like
starts making a scene, a very public scene, and she just
cup of tea, governor. Cup of tea, governor. Fish and chips.
And they're all convinced, right, by his accent.
It's worth a watch. I love those movies, but God, they are trash.
Well, just the first movie is such a stupid conceit of, oh, we've got to steal the Declaration of Independence, and the second movie is like, no, we've got to steal the president.
Yeah, but I urge you to play the drinking game, right? There are only like 2 rules. Every time someone mentions a president, and every time someone says the Declaration of Independence in full, just not the Declaration, just the Declaration of Independence. Every time that is said, I guarantee you will end up on the floor. It's carnage.
So bringing kind of back to Mulan, will you want to pay, assuming that it's going to translate to £30 rather than $30? How do you feel about paying $30 for a streaming service which you've already committed £50 for?
Like, I think, like, in theory, I would do it. If it was a film that I was more interested in, if it was like a Marvel movie, I think I could be convinced to pay $30, because a decent trip to the cinema is something in like the $22-27 range for 2 people with popcorn. Yeah. So I could do it. I just don't think Mulan's the one to get me there.
Interesting. How do you guys feel about it? Will you be paying the £30 to watch it?
I'll be asking the people I live with if they have any interest, because then it will be, I can't do the maths, divided by 4, which is quite a lot cheaper.
£7.50.
Which is not too bad, but only if everyone is interested in seeing it. I wouldn't do it just because I love Mulan. Like, the only way I'm doing it is for cheats, basically.
That's interesting. The reason I was really interested in knowing your answer is that you genuinely love the original. Like, that is, I want to say, one of, if not your favourite Disney movie.
One of my 2 favourites, the other being Lion King, yes.
Yeah. Which is interesting.
And I shall not say which is better, because I love them equally.
That's fine. You can have more than one favourite child.
It's okay, you can say Lion King, it's fine.
Yeah, just because Lion King's the right answer doesn't mean you have to say it.
Why don't I make the decider, how good is this live action versus the Lion King live action?
Still mad about that. It was so bad. Just Beyonce just going spirit in the background while she's talking as her character. It was bizarre.
Beyonception.
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 Daddy,
It's
So-
beyond.
are you gonna
Sorry,
pay for
My
Mulan?
last comment on watching Mulan is I'd quite like it to be, if everyone is interested in watching it, we're all going to gather in the living room, turn the lights, maybe get some microwave popcorn and like make it an event if we are
Right.
Yeah.
having to pay for it, and
Mm.
proper go for it.
I'm
you
kind of in
think?
the I'm in the same boat as Kieran. Like I think these kind of like premium releases on Disney Plus and the like of what they did like with Trolls and stuff like that. I think it's got to be the right movie for you. And going to the cinema is expensive nowadays. It is going to cost you like upwards of 30 quid if two of you are going with popcorn and drink. Like it's going to cost you that much. So like. But really, I guess like the utility is different. Like the way that you enjoy it is different. Like going to the cinema is an experience in itself. You're paying for that experience to kind of sit in a darkened room, watch it on a sort of high definition big screen, with the best sound quality. You're seeing it how it was intended to be shown. So that's what you're paying for, really. So I don't know, like if the premium price captures me enough to like want to pay it, because I'm not getting the same experience as I would be if I went to go and see it at the cinema.
I totally agree, and that's why I don't want to pay to see Mulan.
Yeah.
My opinion is I willingly paid for Disney Plus the first day it came out because I was like, I want to be able to have the full library of all Disney movies, and it was kind of sold to us on the premise of you'll have the access to the full library here. And what I feel like they are doing with this is, do you guys remember the Disney Vault when it came to their DVD releases?
Yeah.
I feel like they're kind of starting to do something akin to that, where it's like, no, we're going to start valuing certain things higher. And it's like, well, I paid £50 expecting to have the full library of this. I'd be happy to wait for this to get a cinema release, even if it takes longer, and then eventually watch it on streaming. But ultimately,
Yeah.
I pay that £30, which, you're right, is probably equivalent for 2 tickets and about a bucket of popcorn for us to go to the movies. I'm paying for the experience. I want to see, especially something like Mulan, where there's going to be a big fight battle, like big sequences. We know there's going to be kind of armies fighting each other. It's going to be a cinematic experience. I want the big screen. I want to feel like the rumble of the surround sound. I'm not going to get that at home. So
Yeah.
I'd rather wait, not pay the £30, and wait for like a year's time for Mulan to eventually be free on Disney Plus, which it will be at some point, and watch it then for the lesser experience. I've paid the £50 for that already.
Sam Cinema Podcast, we're not even going to
This
watch
is-
the only new movie.
I mean, I know it sounds corny, but like you really are paying for like the magic of cinema. Like, imagine if you went to go and see something like, especially a Disney film, which is a very magical thing in itself. Imagine if you went to go and see like Toy Story 3. If you didn't go and see that and you first saw it at home, you wouldn't have this. It wouldn't have the same effect on you. You're paying for kind of like to be completely immersed in something for 2 hours and to be completely taken out of this world and into a world in which you're in the cinema and you're completely focused on it. There are too many distractions at home. I pay 30 quid. I'm probably on my phone for like 15 minutes of the movie, because that's just the way that we consume content nowadays. Like, I like being in the cinema and knowing that I don't, my phone won't come out for 2.5 hours and I'll be completely swept away by whatever's on the screen.
Yeah, I totally agree.
I
Would
still
positive-
advocate for getting an Amazon box and putting your phone at the end and then just putting it over your head.
Does it have to be an
Come on, Jeff
Amazon box?
Bezos, make it happen.
Does it have to be Amazon or any old cardboard box?
What other cardboard boxes are you getting right now apart from an Amazon box? Let's be real.
I just ordered a bunch of mugs from Typo, so and they have really cool boxes.
Get you
Well,
that.
there you
Typo
go.
was purchased by Amazon in 2017. He owns everything.
No, he really.
No, I'm
Oh
joking.
shit, you got me there. You know what? I kind of believed it.
Please,
half-
Jeff.
I'm
Don't.
half convinced he like owns like Tiger, Typo, all of those kind of like cheapo places.
Cheap and cheap.
I'm sure in the end we'll have no option. It will just be Amazon everything.
Yeah, probably. My
Amazon.
question was: would positive reviews of Mulan sway you?
No.
Absolutely.
No. £30. Are you joking? Absolutely not.
So Kieran's gonna sit on his own, pay 30 and watch it, and
He
you're
can
gonna be
pay
in another
£30
room.
and I'll watch it for free as I intended to.
If people are like, this film is absolutely amazing, yeah,
But the
I'll
thing's
be
like, it's not
way
even-
more inclined to check it out.
I wouldn't even be getting it for free. I've paid the £50 for Disney Plus.
Yeah.
You already have my money.
But they want
So
all
true.
your money
But
there.
Hamilton was free, so why is Mulan not? I'm mad about it. Like,
Because
I
they're just making-
get the mouse needs to make its money. I get that. But its stock is doing really well right now. I'd feel better if they gave you the option of you can see it on Disney Plus for £30 or you could go to the movies and watch it for £30. Give people the option. I would take neither as a personal choice, but leading on to the next thing I want to talk about,
Yeah.
Kieran and I went to a drive-in cinema over the weekend, and it was £30 per car to go watch the film. If they're able to get any kind of distribution with drive-in cinemas, I'm there in a heartbeat. Like I'd be there opening day, just because it's a safer way of watching something on a big screen. I'd gladly do that. So I kind of wish that they'd come out and say, we're going to do the both, and you can pick whichever you want, because it's going to cost approximately the same per family. So why not do something that kind of keeps the cinemas going for those who want to go, and for those who are shielding or uncomfortable going to the cinema, you can watch it on Disney Plus. You have the option.
The cynical answer to that question is because the profit margins on
Yeah,
Disney Plus release
I was
are
gonna say they
really
have
high.
to make their money back. They can't release this film like they normally do. That is a lot of money they're gonna lose. So this is how they're gonna make it. Like that's it. That's just how it works.
Yeah, and also, someone correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Disney Plus has launched in the sort of in like China and other markets that Mulan was touted to be, a really big splash in. So maybe getting the American sort of and in much of Europe home release on Disney Plus is a good way to get the film out there into the market where it was planning to make a lot of money without sort of losing out on the important things like, I don't know, like award season stuff that they would, and buzz and general hype that you get from the kind of Western media surrounding cinema.
So are you saying that if what I'm proposing, which is do both, go on Disney Plus and go in the cinemas, that they just wouldn't make enough money from doing that? I mean, obviously we don't know the figures, we don't know the estimates that they're looking at.
Yeah,
but
I don't even think they
giving people the option. I think it's going to make loads of money. I think based on what we saw with like Charles World Tour, of it making like hand over fist and it almost breaking AMC as like as a corporation. I think it is going to make a lot of money. I think it's interesting timing that it's coming out in September, because at least in the UK all the school kids are going back then. I think that's true of most countries in Europe, that most school kids go back around September, and I think that in America the school kids normally go back in August.
Yeah, they're already
so some are already back. So I think that's interesting, because they're not going to need the entertainment at home. Like one of the reasons Charles World Tour did really well is because all the kids are like driving their parents insane and they just need to watch something. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But the drive-in cinema experience,
Yeah.
thumbs up. Really, really fun. Really good.
I can't remember the name of whichever drive-in we went to.
It was called Nightflix.
Yeah, Netflix.
Right.
We drove over you kind of book your ticket online, you drive over, all the staff wearing masks, they direct you into what is essentially an abandoned car park with a decent, like a mediumly sized screen at the
I was
end.
imagining it was good. You know how you see in the movies and the screen is like as wide as the row of cars and
Yeah.
it's huge. It wasn't that. Like imagine like your local cinema, one of like the medium to small size screens. It was kind of that
Oh,
size.
really?
Which is fine. It's still a screen. I'll take it.
Yeah. Go on.
I was half expecting him to like when you were at school and the sort of supply teacher kind of comes in and wheels the TV in, and you're all just like, right, I can't see that from the back, right?
Well, we turned up pretty early because we had no idea what we were expecting, so we got like front row.
Center.
Yeah, front and center. Absolutely
Nice.
immaculate seat.
Oof, nice.
The audio comes in via your car's like FM radio. So on our reasonably small car, we watched Empire Strikes Back because a lot of the drive-ins aren't there's no new movies to show, so they're showing like reruns.
Like Back to the Future
And,
Dirty
like-
Dancing, those kind of things.
Yeah, and the explosions would like slightly shake the car, which is like
That was fun.
4D cinema. Big
That's
fan.
so cool.
That was really cool. Sometimes the
That is very
sound
good.
was a little overblown, just because obviously like our car isn't wired to handle the sound of explosions. But feeling like the rumble of the music was a really cool experience. It was super well run.
Where was the music coming from? Was it coming from like a speaker at the front,
No,
or
it was
did you
coming
have?
Your car
through-
radio.
Through our car
You tune in.
radio. So they'll have,
Oh,
like,
so you like had to tune into the
station.
frequency.
Yeah.
Oh, that's clever. Yeah.
Which was lovely because like before the movie started, they were just playing like Jurassic Park and like just all different like movie themes. That was really nice. The staff were all excellent. Like they all had masks on, and it was really cute because they all had like branded masks on. They were all like really keeping their distance. You had the option of ordering food through their website, and they'd bring it straight to your car. And when they brought it to your car, it was on trays, and you'd pick the food up off the tray, so zero contact with the person handing it to you. It was really well organised.
Just massively impressed.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I'm hoping that Tenet somehow is able to get released at drive-ins, because then I can go see it. Just 'cause
I'm very, very skeptical of that. Just from my experience of the drive-in, and that they recalled Harry Potter because they want to re-release it in cinemas. So they want the money first, and drive-in cinemas just don't make that much money.
Yeah. It's true.
Even though they are such a great experience, and particularly for like kind of just rewatching old films, like when we went to see the Goonies, but before the Goonies, Grease was playing, and we were waiting in the car park that's across from the cinema car park. You can actually see it, so you don't even need to pay for it, which is really funny. But you know, Grease has the scene where they're in a drive-in cinema.
Yeah.
We didn't see the scene, unfortunately, but it was just like the nostalgia of it, and you hear the music and just the whole atmosphere, and it was a sunny day. What a great medium to consume film! Like, so much fun.
Yeah, we had a brilliant time because like we're in the middle of a heat wave, so it was like boiling hot evening. It was like a beautiful kind of clear sky evening. Had hot dogs ordered to the car, and it was like it feels great, and it was so nice to be able to have the kind of as close to a cinema experience as you can get right now without going to the cinema.
Yeah, we had to pop the popcorn at home in the microwave, but you know what? That's kind of close enough.
We brought a cool bag with our cold Cokes, with sweets and chocolate.
Guys are adorable.
We are very
That's
cute.
so adorable.
We are so
That is
sweet.
so good.
But yeah, it was really fun. So I think, Tara, I think you're right that it's unlikely that Tenet will come out at a drive-in cinema, but dare to dream, I say. Dare to dream, because that's the only way I'm going to go and see the movie, just because...
So that would sell out like that. Like, people without cars are buying those tickets.
Yeah.
They just turn up and just walk there, you know. Sit on the floor.
One amazing thing we saw, someone brought their like pickup truck, and they had it kind of, so they turned the car around, and they had like seats and blankets, and they were sitting in their pickup truck.
Oh, that's cool.
I was like, that
Yeah,
is
that's
amazing. It looked really fun.
I know we were in like the middle of in the middle of Essex, but I'm pretty sure that's the American dream.
Yeah.
That really is. Yeah. To have a pickup.
Main topic.
Main topic. So Tara, you came up with a topic this week. So what are we going to be discussing?
We are discussing films that features dogs. Feature dog film. Dog film.
Feature dog films.
Feature dogs.
Feature dog. Films that feature dog films in a feature.
Somewhat came about inspired by the podcast which talks about monkeys features in films, and apes. Sorry, not just monkeys, and apes. And we'll be discussing all canine feature films.
Wait, wolves
Who
are
would like
allowed?
to
Oh, that
start
changes
after
everything.
Danny,
Pardon?
Daddy, you
please
kick off.
start.
Okay, right. Okay. Well, I would like to tell you a story about the time the film. One of my favorite dog films ever was a recent dog film, and it was called Isle of Dogs. And I am for anyone who knows me, I'm a massive Wes Anderson fan. I'm a fan of all the whimsy and the quirk and the fantasy of a Wes Anderson film. But I'd like to tell you a story about the time that I went up to the counter in the cinema. This is a very nostalgic cinema story for me, because it was just so perfect. And I walked up and I was like, I'd like a ticket for Isle of Dogs, please. And she was like, yeah, where would you like to sit? And I was like, I know exactly where I want to sit. And I wanted to sit in K9.
Oh,
And I saved it because I was like, I'll never get this opportunity ever again.
I want to know if anyone else did that.
And I sat in seat K9 and I was like, I'm like the biggest boss in this cinema right
Please
now.
tell me it was like front corner.
And I was on my own, so I was just like sitting there
How-
in K9 like, I'm so cool.
How did they
So
react
cool.
when you asked for that seat? Were they like, yeah?
They had no idea. It's like,
Ah.
you know,
So the
they had
drunk
no
didn't even
idea.
land.
I was chuckling to myself. I was just like, I want to sit in K9, please. They had no idea. And I just thought it was hilarious, and I pretty much just like felt so smug throughout the entire film sitting in K9.
Was it a good seat? Was it? Could
You know what? It wasn't actually. It was like right over on the right, but like I wanted to do it anyway. But like the cinema was completely dead as well, because I feel like it was like yeah, it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon on a Monday. So yeah, I was literally just like on my own. But yeah, Isle of Dogs. If you haven't seen it, has anyone not seen it?
We haven't
I
seen it.
haven't.
Ah, I love it. It's just so good. It's essentially sort of filmed in like a sort of stop motion sort of a form. It's kind of an animation, but it's very kind of like a bit like sort of Wallace and Gromit. It's a bit sort of stop motion. It's very similar to if you've seen Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Ah,
I
okay.
haven't seen
It's
it, but I
an-
know the one you mean. It's George Clooney. His voice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another Wes Anderson film, but it's essentially about it's set in Japan, and they essentially, I think dogs contract some sort of virus, very topical,
Ooh.
and they quarantine all of these dogs onto an island called Isle of Dogs. Also, it's not lost on me that the name of the film is Isle of Dogs, which sounds very similar to I Love Dogs.
I'm sure
And I
Wes was
mean-
quite aware.
I mean, Wes was 100% in on that. I'm sure. I'm sure it wasn't lost on him either. He's
I
like,
bet
I'm gonna
he's
call the
at
film
K9 at the
I Love
premiere.
Dogs. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
probably.
oh,
Yeah, probably. I Love Dogs. I mean, you can't have a better name for a film about dogs, can you? Anyway, and it's just such a sweet story about the good nature of dogs, and it's about sort of mankind's best friend. It's a story about love and friendship and dogs, and I urge anyone to go and watch it because it's so whimsical. It's like the epitome of a Wes Anderson film. It's mad, it's bonkers, and it has an amazing cast as well. I mean, like every single Wes Anderson film has an amazing cast, but this one captures it in a way that it's voice acting, so it just feels so much more whimsical because they're able to like mirror their characters in a sort of different way. But it's just a great film. I love it,
All right, solid.
choice.
and that's
And
my
many
film.
dogs.
I Love Dogs.
Noise.
And
Good
at
bit.
least from what I know from the promo material, an enormous number of dogs in the film.
There was so
Yeah.
much promo for that film. It was just everywhere for a while.
Yeah,
At least
I
where
suppose.
we lived. I think they just like overly advertised in our area because it was like on the
It-
train station. It was like every billboard for a bit.
I remember that, and that because that animation style really creeps me out. I'm sure
Mm.
it's a great film, but I just saw it everywhere, and it makes me uncomfortable.
it's talking dogs. What's not to love? Like if you've ever wondered what's in a dog's head, this film 100% tells you what's going on in a dog's head, and it captures it so beautifully because you just believe that that's what goes on in dogs' head. Like you do. It's great.
Oh,
Alright.
I was
Yeah.
going to be smart
my
about our dog films. In that, I just wanted to ask, would this film work without the dogs?
It's I mean, it's a film called I Love Dogs, so probably not. I'm gonna go no.
All right,
I
all
mean-
right.
I mean, maybe not. Well, no. I mean, like the whole movie is essentially about dogs. So I'm gonna go take the dogs. You can't really take the dogs out of this movie. You don't have a movie.
You just have an aisle.
You just have an aisle. And
Alright.
I wouldn't be sitting in K9. I'd probably be sitting in a much more central middle location.
Yeah.
Watching
Or
a
you'd be
blank
sitting in the
screen.
aisle.
Oh,
amazing.
Oh, it's a clever one, this one.
Absolutely smashed that.
amazing.
Cut it, print it. That's the episode. I've nailed it.
That's it. Signing
Alright,
off.
I'll
Here
rip
we
my
go.
background down. Okay, I vote Liz goes next. Okay, cool.
Cool. Right, I had a choice to make between my two favourite movies that heavily feature dogs. I was like, I could either go for the one that the dog is really important for the emotional growth of the protagonist, is the kind of emotional sounding board, and has one of the most devastating scenes featuring a dog. Or I can go for Independence Day because the scene with Boomer is too funny. So I was gonna go for I Am Legend. I am instead picking Independence Day.
I don't remember the dog.
It is.
Who has a dog?
It's the single greatest scene in any movie ever. So
Okay.
the dog is Will Smith's dog, but really it's Jasmine's dog, and we love Jasmine. She is.
Wait, so both the films you picked, it was Will Smith's
Will Smith.
dog.
I mean, I didn't think about it like that. But I'll get you. No. It's Jasmine's dog, okay? Will Smith doesn't.
Okay.
He's like offline.
I've seen that film like 10 times. I still don't know the name of Will Smith's character.
What is Will Smith's character called?
You've watched that?
Stephen Hood.
Okay,
There we go,
you've watched the
Stephen
film
Hillis.
like 20
But
times.
the dog in I Am Legend, that was his daughter's dog.
So it's both times not Will Smith's dog.
Love it. Love that for him. But anyway, Independence Day. We all know the dog's name, and the dog's name is Boomer. And we know this
Yes.
because Boomer features in the most insane scene in any like Destructo movie, potentially ever. Because the science that goes into this shot is just baffling. So I'm going to paint you guys who haven't seen it, who like our many fans who are listening, a little word picture. So aliens are blowing up all the famous landmarks all across the world, and I believe they are in LA. I want to say
Yeah,
they're
go on
in
then.
Ann City in America.
And City.
Will Smith is he's like a fighter pilot type dude. He wants to get into NASA. That's a whole other plot. But he's gone to his base and he's told his soon-to-be fiance, you and your son, please come stay with me at the base. I'll make you safe. So they're trying to drive to get out of the city, and it's just rammed. It's like back to back, bumper to bumper. Cars are all beeping, trying to get out of the city, and they're all trying to go through this tunnel to get out of the city. Then suddenly behind them, aliens, big blue beam of light, Independence Day did that first, comes down, explodes the building. So Jasmine, being the smart lady she is in this movie, grabs her kid and tries to find somewhere to keep them safe. So everyone's like trying to run through a tunnel, people are stuck in their cars. She finds a side door in the tunnel and she can see the fireball coming. She kicks down the side door and she gets in there, but oh no, Boomer the dog is still in the car. So she screams across all of the shouting, all of the chaos, all the explosions, Boomer! The dog looks up, hears from her car, which is like a significant way away, and then proceeds to leapfrog over multiple cars, gets to her
In slow motion.
in slow motion. As the fire is like kind of coming in, Boomer leaps into the door. She grabs the dog. They're fine, and the fire manages to keep travelling only forward and does not enter the door, which is still very firmly open. They do not suffocate because the oxygen's burned up. Everything is fine, and Boomer is an American hero.
All right.
So that's my pick.
No,
Give
wait,
that
Tara,
dog a
ask the
medal.
question. Ask the question.
Does that work without Boomer?
No, that is the pivotal moment of that.
Of the whole film?
Of the whole film. That is one of, I think it is one of my top 5 favourite movie scenes of all time. Just because it's like turned up to 11. It's so dumb and it's done in such sincerity. It is beautifully shot. It's got a million extras, so many cars. They're like the cars are like really exploding and flipping. Like so much money was put into this entire scene. It looks fantastic. It's just she goes, Boomer! And then cut to the dog. And he looks around like, me?
You me?
And then he managed to heroically leap and find his way and like herd his owner. So yeah, I could have picked I Am Legend, in which the dog is a really important part of that movie because it's the only real connection Will Smith has right up until the end of the movie when he starts seeing other humans. And the scene in which, and spoilers for I Am Legend because you said you haven't seen it.
I've read the book.
When the dog gets infected, that is one of the most devastating scenes because it's almost like Will Smith's last attachment to humanity gone, because that was his partner. I could have picked that movie, but I picked Boomer.
Okay, just one thing.
And it
on
was
I
a
Am
great
Legend.
choice.
Great choice.
One thing on I Am Legend. So I've read the book, but I haven't seen the movie. So I'm an intellectual. Honestly, did they just... Right, so you say it's a really powerful scene.
Yes.
And, you know, like, the dog is an important part of the story. But the dog is not in the book. To my mind, the dog exists only so Will Smith has someone to talk to.
Yeah, exactly, because you're not having any kind of inner monologue. The dog is a really good kind of conduit for us understanding how Will Smith is feeling, and it's kind of, it keeps him human, keeps him sane, gives him like companionship. So I think the dog is actually a really good addition to the movie. It's a good device through which we can understand Will Smith's character. So the loss of the dog is really sad, and then the ending of I Am Legend is really strange and doesn't really work. The original ending is amazing, so if anyone who's listening has only seen the theatrical ending, highly recommend that you look up the original ending because it is really, really strong.
What happened with the alternate ending then? Was it like sort of a studio decision to go a different way, or was it like sort of...
Yeah.
damn studios.
They didn't, because all the way through the movie there's really heavy symbolism around like butterflies and metamorphosis, kind of implying that humanity has evolved beyond what it was, and like the zombies are now the new humanity. So the ending of the original is just kind of him blowing up the zombies and then finding like sorry Kieran, you haven't seen this movie, finding other kind of like immune-ish humans and starting like their own kind of colony type thing. Whereas the original ending is him realizing that the zombies have kind of connections with each other and that they aren't just mindless, that the reason the zombies are going insane is because they've captured a zombie that's important to them, and that they kind of have those interpersonal relationships. So he chooses to not blow them up and to release the zombie and kind of realizes, wait, this is the way humanity is going. So it's a less bleak ending in comparison to the book, but it still hits on that same point of I am legend because
I'm history.
These are the future. So it's a much stronger ending.
Yeah.
And they replaced it with an ending that's nothing, that makes the film no longer fit its title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The symbolism in the movie around that is completely just like dropped, and they have it like, and it's throughout. They have symbolism.
I just feel like at the end they sort of they showed it to the studio execs and they were like, no, we want a big explosion on the way out. You know, there's got to be something big.
Boobs in there
Give me big. I want big explosions. And they're like, yeah, but that doesn't make sense. And they're like, big explosions.
Yeah, it was dumb, but not as dumb as Boomer hearing Jasmine's call of Boomer over explosions, cars flipping, people screaming, and the dog still somehow hears. So I feel like I made the right choice.
You did make the right choice, yeah. You really did.
It keeps Independence Day together. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
All right. Tara, do you want to go next?
So I ripped the... Okay, no. I was just... it's not about my film. I was just thinking about dogs as, movie like plot devices, or not even just for the plot, but just for character development of humans. And when you look at it in, say, I Am Legend, you articulated that perfectly in that it's our way of seeing inside his head. But then it's also, with the death of the dog, there's a death of innocence. That was just a general musing that really doesn't link to my film because I picked Scooby-Doo.
Nice! wait.
Excellent.
Which one? One or two?
One.
Handbrake turn.
Two is not my thing.
which dog, Scooby or Scrappy?
This is important because we're going to ask you if the
Which
dog is
dog?
vital to the story in a minute.
What? Danny didn't pick a dog.
No,
We
yeah,
haven't seen
no,
that movie. We know Scrappy's in this one.
I have two movies, so I actually have a actual dog that I would like to talk about
Oh
later.
god, god.
Oh.
No, we
No,
have to
no,
talk about
no, no.
Scooby-Doo first.
You haven't
Okay.
answered, Tara. Is it Scooby or is it Scrappy?
It's Scooby, alright. Scrappy sucks.
Scrappy sucks so hard.
But for a film that's named after, the dog, you tend not to care too much about what he does because it's always goofy and crazy. And it's obviously more about the gang than Scooby himself. But that film is great, and I wouldn't take Scooby out of it because then it would be a Scooby-Doo film.
That's true.
The sets
It
in
wouldn't
that
be.
movie are so cute and nostalgic in a way that I really miss. It's a really weird movie.
It's a kooky movie, isn't it?
Guy who
It's
made Guardians.
James Gunn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's James Gunn. But I read or heard somewhere that originally it was meant to be a lot more kind of tongue-in-cheek, a bit more adult, and a bit more risky humour. And the studio were just like, no, this is a kids' movie, take it all out, which is why it's like
No.
weird beats in places. Yeah, it was meant to be kind of more
Studios would never interfere with creative decisions.
I mean, I don't know. It was a different
Money.
time.
Don't believe you. Don't believe you.
Scrappy Doo. Remember he gets like swole at the end, like swole Scrappy Doo.
Isn't
Who
it
wanted
Yeah,
that?
he gets massive.
Puppy power. Like, it's his...
Did you guys like Scrappy Doo in the cartoon?
I found...
Oh, he was
Scrappy
always really
You
annoying.
forgot annoying. Yeah, I thought he was really annoying.
See, I didn't mind Scrappy Doo in the cartoon.
deeply infuriating for me.
Yeah, I thought he was really annoying. I've never actually seen the Scooby-Doo movies. Is that bad?
Not the
No, I've
second
never
one,
seen them.
but treat yourself to the first one.
I've never seen it. It has like what's her name? Sarah Michelle Gellar, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah. And
Iconic.
Freddie Prinze Jr. Yeah, yeah.
And
Wait,
Rowan
sorry?
Atkinson.
And the
Is-
guy from Scream, the guy yeah,
Yeah.
number one, Scream
What's
one.
his name? Something.
I can't remember his name.
Matthew
Lillard?
Lillard.
Ah, that's it, Matthew Lillard. Yes.
Who's
Yes.
Who's like
he's gone on
the
to
perfect Shaggy.
he's gone on to do loads of like voice work being Shaggy. Apparently, when they
Yeah.
did the new Scooby Doo movie, Scoob, he was really offended that
Scoob?
he didn't get asked to voice Shaggy because he was like, I've been doing this for years. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Give me the
He's
It's my
so
only
good at it.
paycheck. It's my
I'm
only
always-
paycheck. It's putting my
I'm
kids through college.
I'm always surprised when I see him not in the Shaggy part because he fits it to a T.
He's brilliant in
Perfect
it.
casting.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
brilliant in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Good choice.
Good choice, man. Good choice.
All right, my turn then.
Kieran?
I picked... Oh, since I was going to do Independence Day, but obviously Liz has stole it.
The obvious choice.
This just stole all the Will Smith dog ones.
I'm sure there's another one. I'll have a think.
But actually, at the start of lockdown, or early lockdown, just after we got Disney Plus...
Plug.
Yeah. God damn it. We decided to watch the Lady and the Tramp remake.
All right,
which,
yeah.
Like, I wasn't particularly excited to watch a remake of Lady and the Tramp, and we've talked on the podcast before that we generally aren't wild on Disney live action remakes, but the Lady and the Tramp remake was really lovely. Like, I think the dog technology, like for the CG dogs, is perfect. Their dogs look and feel as if they're in the room, so technology wise it was the right time to do it. They managed to update the story in a way that, like, it is woke Disney. Like, they put in like a really kind of wholesome message about like adopting dogs and stuff like that, but they do it in a way that's not, it doesn't feel ham-fisted or like awkward. It feels like a kind of good message. Like, it wasn't a retreading of the old story. It was a remix. It was kind of, it has the characters of Lady and the Tramp, and it has a couple of the songs and maybe one new song, but it has a kind of a real heart and charm to it that I was really surprised by. Like, I was ready to kind of half pay attention, but I was really quite captured by the story. And then at the end, like, it's it ends in a like very warm Christmassy note. So I think it doesn't. It's not a summer movie, but when it gets to winter again and it gets sort of like Christmas time and you want to like cozy up with a really cozy, heartwarming kind of film, Lady and the Tramp.
It was genuinely quite a lovely watch because like we've been fairly skeptical about all of the Disney live action remakes, which we have seen all of them apart from Dumbo because I couldn't convince you on that one.
Can you watch it on your own?
I mean, it's probably on Disney Plus, and I'm sure I'll get there. But generally, our feelings around them are fairly negative. I think kind of the upper scale probably being Aladdin and Cinderella being pretty good.
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast being middling.
Mid-tier.
Lion King being all the way down on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't really have high expectations when we watched it. I really do love the original Lady and the Tramp cartoon. That was one I really grew up watching a whole bunch. So I didn't really have high expectations for it. But the fact that it was kind of made for streaming, that it was made for Disney Plus, there was no plan to release it in cinemas in the before times. The intention was it to go on streaming. It had less of like a cash grab feel that some of the other ones did. It didn't feel like they were trying to sell you anything. It was just a really charming retelling of the story. It had really good voice acting in it. Tessa Thompson voices Lady, and I love her. She's great. Yeah. Janelle Monáe sings the He's a Tramp song, and she was excellent.
Yeah, she absolutely nails it.
But yeah, like Kieran said, they added in this really lovely kind of theme throughout of, hey, maybe you should adopt a dog. There are loads of lovely rescue dogs who need homes. Tara, I know that having recently rescued a dog within the last couple of weeks is a message I'm sure you can get behind.
It's great. Do it, everyone.
But it was lovely because some of the characters that are in the original cartoon, like the dog that sings He's a Tramp, she's only really in that scene, and that scene's really sad and scary because it's like, oh, dogs are going to be put down. But they kind of take it the one step further of, but these dogs can be rescued. And you see a later scene of two of the dogs that are in the pound, including Janelle Monáe's character, having been rescued, and they've got a lovely owner, and they're really happy now, and kind of giving Tramp the message of, you don't have to be alone, you can trust people again. And it was lovely. It was
That's
really
really
sweet,
nice.
and it ends on a kind of a slate. I don't know what to call it. Like they have text come up and they say, consider adopting a dog, and kind of like a link
that's
to
nice. Yeah.
an organisation through which you can do that. And I was like, that's
So it does have it has a heart and it has a message behind
Yeah.
it, really.
without
Do you-
like
do
ramming
you-
it down your throat.
Yeah. Do you think because they'd originally planned for it to go to Disney Plus that maybe they had a little bit more sort of creative freedom, a little bit more like less executives breathing down their neck because it wasn't such a big release and they weren't expecting major things for it, so they were able to kind of just take on this project and kind of, it was maybe more of a bit of a sort of passion project or something like that to kind of, do you think that it was kind of,
it
was
quite
better that
possible. It doesn't have at any point the feeling that it's low budget, but and it doesn't ever feel cheap.
The sets are gorgeous.
Yeah.
There's a whole sequence
Yeah.
they go on like a steamboat, and it's beautiful, and like the town looks like, if you guys have ever been to any of the Disney parks, plug, if you go down like kind of a Main Street USA type thing, it just looks like that. It's really pretty.
It's set in this perfect little version of America where there's like, nobody's racist, but
it's
everyone's
super,
perfectly diverse.
It's a really like diverse society. Everyone's nice to each other.
everyone's
It's
fully integrated and just
biracial couples left, right, and centre. It's wonderful.
It's like, I don't know, like the 1940s maybe. Like there's like cars driving around, but they're like the old school ones with the big
I think it might be more
wheels.
like 1920s. I think.
Is it like sort of like set in like New Orleans or something like that? That kind of like.
It definitely feels like kind of American South.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
that feeling. And yeah, I don't. It strikes me as a film that we need to have an exclusive for the streaming service, and we need it to be rated well. So we're going to put a lot of money behind it, or at least enough money.
Yeah, it's nowhere near, like, it's not like an Aladdin budget, and definitely nowhere near a Lion King budget, but it wasn't something that clearly wasn't made on the cheap, and it was clearly made by people who are like, okay, what can we do with this, rather than just trying to fill in plot holes of like, oh, why were all the people in the castle turned into objects, rather than kind of filling in plot holes or doing like the Girl Boss thing they did with the Jasmine, which I don't mind, but I know some people are irritated by that. it feels like it was like, no, this is a completely organic message that fits perfectly within this story anyway. Adopt a dog, give a dog a home.
Yeah.
Lovely.
I think that's really lovely. I think it's a really good
It sounds like
thing.
because it wasn't as high profile as a Lion King, they managed to balance the nostalgia. With no wait, I didn't mean balance. They managed nostalgia without it being pointless.
Yeah, there's
like
a point to it, but
Yeah.
it's hilarious. The "He's a Tramp" song, so many of the lyrics get rewritten because a lot of it's like, well, you can't say that nowadays. Like we know better
Yeah,
now.
a little bit
Uh,
outdated. Yeah.
but that's
Oh,
cute.
good.
Fresh woke Disney.
We did well there, guys, with all of our
What's your other one, Danny?
Yeah, you
dog
have a
mentions.
bonus dog film.
Should we do some honourable dog mentions?
Do
I
an
feel
honourable
like
dog mention.
I feel like the obvious one no one has mentioned, and I'm proud of everyone for not mentioning it. The go-to, which would have been Marley and Me.
Yeah, have not watched.
No, it would have
I
been
know
like
what happens.
would have been like
I
the
saw the
go-to,
trailer
wouldn't it?
today, though, 'cause I was very intrigued as to what it was about. So I just assumed it was like family gets dog, grows up, dies, done. But it's apparently that Marley's a bit of a dick.
He deserved it.
He deserved to die.
So I might check it out after watching that. So we'll see.
One of my earliest memories of dogs is watching Oliver Twist when I was younger, and having a lasting impression of Bullseye, which is Bill Sykes' dog, and just feeling like it was a dog that was caught up in just so much shit, and all right, it was like what was it? It's like a sort of terrier dog, and it looks a bit mean, but he was just caught up in so much stuff, and I just always used to feel sorry for the dog, and I think in the film it like gets beaten up by like Bill Sykes, but like I don't think you see it get beat up there, but opposite to that you see like Nancy getting killed or whatever, but you never see like the dog die. I think in the book the dog dies, but like in the film I don't think the dog dies. I think he ends up being the hero because he kind of like leads the whole mob to Bill Sykes.
That's a rule. That's a rule of screenwriting.
So yeah, it's like the rule of screenwriting, is it? Fine to watch Nancy get beat up, but you can't touch a dog on screen.
What
That's
the
just like
hell
the
was
only
John
rule.
Wick doing?
Like you can't kill a dog on screen.
With John Wick, we didn't have enough time to emotionally connect with that dog.
Because
it was right at the start of the film.
we watched
So
it
what-
after it came out of cinema on streaming, and I had to walk out of the room because I was like, absolutely not. I know what this scene is. No, can't watch a dog die.
Yeah, that is bleak.
No.
That is real bleak.
Although one dog that I would want to die and terrified me as a child is, have you guys ever seen Wallace and Gromit: A Close Shave?
I think I've seen it once.
There is a dog in it where it's the first one with Shaun the Sheep in it.
Right.
So like Wallace has kind of invented.
Oh
this
God,
contraption.
yes.
Yes, it's so
Oh, I've just
scary.
remembered.
It's so
Oh, I've just
scary.
remembered.
So like Wallace
Oh
has
my
like, got a
God.
contraption from which
Yeah.
you can take sheep and like directly kind of get wool off of them. And at some point he meets this nice woman who I believe sells wool. I can't remember exactly.
Oh
But
God,
she
yeah.
has this dog that is very much coded to be an abusive partner. Like he comes near, she doesn't talk. She's clearly scared of this dog. And at the end of the movie, it gets revealed that this dog is a robot, and it has like these teeth that are like,
That's it, yeah.
Oh my God.
And it's like skin gets ripped off by like a machine, right? And then like it ends up being like a robot underneath this dog.
like
Uh,
trying to like kill
it
Shaun the
scarred
Sheep.
me.
It's so scary.
That's the opposite of what happened in Scooby Doo, because the robot ended up being a dog. Scrappy Doo.
Ah.
It's all coming
Oh my God.
around.
You've just reminded me of how like screwed up my childhood was because of Wallace and
Right.
Gromit. The bloody penguin as well.
Oh, that penguin was too much.
I've trust issues because of that penguin.
Oh, that.
Just an innocent penguin as a lodger in your house. No, it's like a psycho killer penguin.
Suddenly you're stealing a diamond.
Yeah, that penguin used to scare the hell out
Wallace
of me.
and Gromit was very intense. Like those
It
things
wasn't.
are intense.
And they were only on for like 25 minutes. Like they were like short little movies, right? Or
Yeah,
actually no,
sure.
I think they were quite short. Like,
The only full-length one was Wallace and Gromit: Curse of the Were-Rabbit. That got
Which
like.
does have
Yeah.
a dog in it, but he's not that scary. He's just a bit grumpy.
Well, obviously Gromit is a dog.
Oh my God! Gromit is so so personified in my mind. I forgot he was a dog.
Gromit is as lovers of animation as we all are.
Yeah.
Gromit is one of the best animated characters ever, and I appreciate it's a different kind of animation because it's stop motion animation. But the expression on that dog's face, you know exactly what he's thinking
Yeah.
all the time, and he's got
It's all
such sadness.
It's in his
and
eyebrows,
mirth
isn't it?
and
It's like in his
sarcasm.
eyebrows.
Brilliant.
It's minimalism, you know. He's only got he's got a very simple face, but they just make
Yeah.
it move amazingly.
So true.
Does anyone else have any
Yeah, sure.
honourable mentions of dogs, or shall we go on to the wrap up?
No, those were some great honourable mentions. The John Wick one I completely forgot about, and that was I mean that spawned the entire franchise, really, didn't it? Like, you know, from the first one, the whole premise was that it's just a man on an absolute rampage because someone killed his dog,
Yeah.
and
But-
suddenly it spawned like 4 movies because
5.
you know
They're gonna film
that's
four
a
back to
that's a
back.
that's a premise that everyone can get on board
Yeah.
with. I think
Yeah,
we'd
it's
all
like,
turn
absolutely,
into John.
kill
We'd
my
all
dog,
turn
I'll kill
into
you.
John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says
Yeah.
about our connection to dogs and to, well, the environment and nature. That it feels reasonable to kill that amount of people because he killed a puppy.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't actually feel like that much of an overreaction.
Yeah,
No,
but- yeah,
standard.
puppy.
That's what
It's
you
just
do.
standard.
Obviously kill them all.
This is a story about a man. Yeah, it's a man's dog was killed, and he got his revenge, and that's
He got
you know
his justice.
everyone got justice.
I don't appreciate how the dog has been slowly sort of written out of the sequels. In the sequels,
Yeah.
he was there,
In
and
the
then
sequel,
he was just
that was kind of
Yeah.
important, like where the dog was. But in the third one, I feel like the dog wasn't really
somebody
around.
else looks
You know,
after the dog. And
Yeah.
I
it's
want
just-
I want a little nod to the dog. You know, I want him to open up his little necklace pendant thing, and there's a picture of the dog in there, and you know, a
Yes.
tear comes down
We've
his
seen that
face.
from
Like,
Wick.
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
There's a lot happens in those films. I wasn't actually thinking about the dog. But the most recent one, they switched it to Halle Berry has dogs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Super
They did.
integral to the plot, and
Yeah.
they mean a lot to her.
Yeah.
They're getting it in there subtly.
Mm.
Oh, I'd just like to say as a more of a wrap up, this episode tonally has been a lot more positive because it's just dogs.
Dogs are
It's
great.
just dog.
They make you
Yeah.
so happy.
Although I
They
would
do.
like to propose our topic for our next episode.
Oh.
Ooh.
And it's inspired by Danny's canine story because that's just hilarious. So, could you guys come
Thanks.
equipped with either your best or worst cinema experience? It could be
Ooh.
something funny that happened. It could be you were waiting for a movie to come out and it lived up to your expectations. It could be funny things or weird things that you overheard. I've got, on the top of my head, 3 different stories. 1 positive, 1 negative, 1 fully disturbing. And I feel like we've probably all got stuff in our closet from the many
Yep.
trips that we have done. And it's a way of us bringing back talking about the cinema because I know we all
It's a
missed
bit-
it.
Bit of nostalgia. Yeah, no, for sure. I'm gutted I used up my canine one now.
That
Not
was
released this
golden.
episode.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys,
All
thank
right.
you so much
All right.
for joining. Thanks, Tara. Thanks, Danny. Thanks,
you.
Kieran. Thanks, me.
Thank you guys. You right there. You.
Are
You
many,
right
many
there.
fans.
Stop enjoying the visual medium so much.
Yeah.
I'll send you
Yeah.
back to audio.
It's so hot. It's the only time I'm surrounded by fans. That's.
And on that note,
And on that note, goodbye.
Bye.
bye.